Greetings, children. It's Friday the 13th.
All right.
Hey now.
Mr. Kovacs Class. It's Mr. Kovacs Class.
You might learn a ton.
It's Mr. Kovacs Class.
It's interesting too.
It's Mr. Kovacs Class.
And he's super cool.
It's Mr. Kovacs Class.
Ooh, spooky. Friday the 13th. I figured today I'd share with you an extra spooky, creepy story that I wrote called Buried Alive. Listen if you dare. Buried Alive by Jim Kobach. I had been abandoned. I was cast away by my parents. Why didn't they want me? How could a child like me be forsaken? I was lost. What had become of me? I had no worth or value. Unwanted. Then the man came. His clothes were soiled. His hands were leathery and rough. He scooped me up and took me to his home. I had been abducted. I'd been taken without my consent. I didn't want to go, but he grabbed me. There was no emotion from the man. He was pallid. I was simply his newest possession. He took me to his home, holding me in his calloused, scabrous hands. Early one morning, the man came for me. He did not tell me what he was going to do. He had a determined look in his eye. He was on a mission. It was early and the sun had yet to fully rise above the horizon. He had tools. They were ghastly abominations of wood and steel. Some were sharp with barbs and hooks and flattened blades. Some had tines that glistened menacingly in the morning light. They were not new. They had been worn away by many years of use. They were rebarbative creations. A wave of horror overwhelmed me. My time had come. He took me into the field. He began to prepare the hole. Dirt was carefully pushed aside, creating a depression in the soil. There was nothing I could do. I was placed in the hole. There was no ceremony. There was no look of remorse on his face. Like an emotionless drudge, he completed this task, only occasionally stopping to spit or to wipe sweat from his brow. The sun was finally above the horizon, and the sky was a brilliant blue. It was a beautiful day. The soil began to rain down atop of my body. The sun was slowly being blackened by the rich organic earth. The smell was overwhelming. It was the smell of freshly broken ground. It was the smell of death. Everything went black. I had been buried alive. It was black for what felt like days. The soil was moist. The soil was moist. It was surprisingly invigorating. I reached downward. I felt my way through the soil. It was warm and it was moist. A wave of excitement overwhelmed me. I reached upward. I pushed and pushed through the blackened soil. I would not give up. I vowed to fight with all of my being to make it back to the surface. It was painstakingly slow. I inched my way up, clawing at the particles of dirt which had imprisoned me. After what seemed like a week, I breached the surface. The wave of warmth from the sun energized my body. I was reborn and ready to rise. I was ready to escape. After I emerged from the ground, I remained still, silently hovering over the spot where I had been previously imprisoned. Looking around, I noticed there were others like me. The man had buried many, many abandoned children. It was an inconceivable number of young bodies that had been condemned to the ground. However, like me, they were resilient, and now we were all challenging death and rising from the earth. The man came back. A wave of terror crashed over me. This is the end. The man approached. I remained still. He was carrying an oddly shaped tin container. He stopped and looked down at me. He tilted the container. A torrent of chilling water bathed my body. The man smiled and walked away. Remarkably, my fear was gone. I had actually never felt so alive. Perhaps this is where I was supposed to be all along. The end. Is it over yet? I can't watch. Too scared. Scary. I can't watch. Well, that was a scary story. Look, our plants are doing pretty well. Most of them have their little cotyledons. Right, there you are, cotyledons, and yeah, some doing better than others. These guys are doing well. All right, so again, we'll give them 24 hours of light. I'll keep them watered by watering their trays, and should be good. Really, I hope nothing else scary happens today.